Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, June 7th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The brother of a 13-year-old girl found dead on the Wood River Reservation in April has been indicted in a charge of second-degree murder in her death. 13-year-old Marissa Spoonhunter was found dead April 7th. Her brother, 21-year-old Robert Spoonhunter of Arapahoe, pled not guilty to the murder charge last week in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The indictment also charges 19-year-old Karen Tillman of Arapahoe with being an accessory after the fact to the girl's murder and with sexual abuse of a minor. He pled not guilty last week as well. Investigators allege Robert Spoonhunter choked his sister and threw her against a weight bench after he found Tillman, who is their step-cousin, having physical contact with her. A North Carolina tribe said it has ended its contract with a Nevada gaming consultant in the tribe's effort to be officially recognized by Congress. On June 4th, the Lumbee Tribe and officials from Lewin International terminated the contract that gave the Las Vegas company the authority to handle the tribe's push for federal recognition. In the contract, the tribe had agreed to give Lewin a stake in future Lumbee economic ventures, including gambling. But the Lumbee have long said they don't want the right to have gambling as part of their federal recognition. That created friction both within and outside the tribe, as the past 20 years has seen an increase in blocking newly recognized tribes from making money off of gaming operations. Fresh fruits and vegetables will be in more family meals across Bad River this year, thanks to the work of Heart Watch and community volunteers. Months ago, team members from the Bad River Chippewa Heart Watch program, a diabetes-related health program, started talking with community gardeners about how to get more people growing their own food. A series of 4 well-attended gardening classes came out of those conversations, as did plans to build raised bed plots at the elderly center. The group provided tilling for people who wanted to garden at home, as well as an option of taking a plot in the Kitaganing Community Garden site. Public health advocate and elder Becky Lemieux played a large role in tending to seedlings that are being shared across the reservation. We're all predisposed to diabetes, so it's something we've got to do, she said. To me, it's mind, body, and soul. To learn more about the gardening in Bad River, you can call Heart Watch at 715-685-7858. And this report was by Karen Hollish, a 2010 New American Media Fellowship writer supported by the Atlantic Philanthropics, to explore the question of how type 2 diabetes is affecting the Bad River community. Look for the full piece on this topic in the June edition of News from Indian Country, which is on its way to subscribers in stores right now. A pair of students at Haskell Indian University are trying to start up the school's first sorority. Courte Leroy and Ariane Franklin told the Lawrence Journal World that membership in the Alpha Pi Omega, the nation's oldest American Indian sorority, would give female students a chance to connect with each other. The 2 organizers and 3 other members who were initiated recently are working on an organizational constitution. They will receive provisional status once the document is approved, and the Haskell chapter could get its full status by summer of next year. Leroy says she hopes the sorority will give female students an alternative to drinking and partying around Lawrence, Kansas. Alpha Pi Omega was started in 1994 and has nearly 400 members representing more than 70 tribes nationwide. A South Dakota state's attorney says it's up to alcohol retailers to decide whether military and tribal identification is acceptable to prove age by those buying alcohol. State's attorney Pat Smith's comments follow a letter sent earlier in May from a Mitchell, South Dakota police officer to alcohol retailers, telling them military and Cheyenne River Sioux tribal IDs would no longer be valid forms of ID for alcohol purchases. But Smith says a retailer must act as a reasonable and prudent person when deciding who can legally buy alcohol. Smith says he recently sent a letter clarifying the rules on alcohol sales to all alcohol retailers in the Mitchell area. Backers and foes of casino gambling will get their chance to weigh in at a public hearing at the Boston State House this week. The Massachusetts Senate has scheduled a 1 p.m. hearing on June 8th on a plan to allow the state to license 3 resort-style casinos while keeping a ban on slot machine at the state's 4 racetracks. 2 of the casino licenses would be competitively bid. The third would go to a qualified Indian tribe. The Senate's plan differs from a House plan to license 2 casinos and allow 750 slot machines at each of the state's 4 racetracks. Senate President Teresa Murray said the details of the Senate bill are still in flux and a final version won't be released until after this hearing. A cattle herd living in southwest Colorado may be transferring schools. Fort Lewis College says it is in talks with Colorado State University to acquire a 43-head cattle herd at the Hesperus Trust. Colorado's state's lease on the property expires at the end of this month. The Hesperus Trust is the site of an old Native American boarding school, and it is the location where Fort Lewis College first started. The acquisition must be approved by the Colorado State Land Board. Fort Lewis College says it will pay $20,000 for the herd, then sell the cattle to cover its expenses. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you all for coming here. Join with us again soon. Miigwech.